Hi everyone, it's Anna here from Journeys. Today's question for AAA, Ask Anna Anything. We have another question about grief, and this is what the person says. In relation to grief and the way the body, mind and heart reacts to the loss of someone dear, can any theory and research in relation to grief actually prepare you for the intensity of the grief? So here this person is acknowledging that grief is intense, 100%. It really is. And she wants to know, is there anything you can do to prepare yourself for this intensity? Is there a theory or any research out there that says you can actually prepare yourself for grief? So I don't think there is. I don't think there is anything at all that we can do to prepare ourselves for grief and for the loss of a loved one or for the loss of anything that we experience. I think that when we grieve, it's something really specific, usually to that situation or to that person. I think that we can educate ourselves on grief. I think that we can learn that everyone grieves differently, that the grief process is not a linear experience, that it's all over the place and goes backwards and forwards, and we go into this feeling about it, and then we can sometimes have a bit of a lull and feel okay about life and about the loss, and then other times it can be very present again, and it can come back feeling very present in many years after the actual loss. So I think that we can educate ourselves on grief. We can also learn that there's no right or wrong way of grieving, and as I said, that there's no linear process to the experience of grief. I think if we educate ourselves about grief in general, that it's not only the loss of a loved one, but that we can experience grief from moving house, from changing jobs. We can experience loss from something that we've always desired to have, but don't have. That sometimes is what we experience in grief when, for example, we want to be a mum, or we want to be a dad, or we want to meet someone, or we want the job, or whatever it is, and it's not coming. And we're experiencing a lot of that kind of thing at the moment during the pandemic. Is I had plans. I had plans to travel, or I had plans to finish uni and get the job, but it's not happening. A lot of things are out of our control at the moment, and that all of those things come with the experience of loss. So I think we can educate ourselves on what grief is and what loss is. Understanding these things will help us to not feel crazy. So sometimes when people are experiencing grief, the overwhelming sense of emotion and sense of thoughts and changes in behavior or appetite or all the different things can sometimes make someone feel like, is there something wrong with me? Because this is not a normal feeling. And the facts are that the loss of someone, or whatever loss you're experiencing, you're going to have different reactions emotionally, physically, mentally, behaviorally. You're going to experience those things because you don't lose someone every day of your life, right? So you're not crazy. These are just normal responses to an abnormal situation. So I think you can educate yourself on grief, but I really don't think that we can ever fully prepare ourselves. I also think that depending on the loss, some losses we will find really hard to deal with, and other losses maybe not so much. And that can be even through the death of loved ones. Someone that we might think, wow, if I ever lost them, I could just not live another day, I could not get through each day, whatever. And if it happens, we might surprise ourselves and realize that we have the skills, or for whatever reason, we're able to move forward. And something else where we go, oh, if that happened, I think I'd be sad and I'd struggle, but I think I'd be okay, might completely sweep us off our feet and kind of stop us in our tracks. So I think all of that stuff is really different. So I think we can educate ourselves, but I don't think we can ever really prepare ourselves for the intensity of grief. Thanks for your question.